In this part, I will show you how to make sure that your online store is mobile friendly and that it will display well on every type of screens, desktop, tablet, and mobile as well, which is super important for today's e-commerce, as many people will go on your online store on their mobile. But there's also a lot of people who will go on your store on desktop, maybe a few less on tablet, but it's still important that the three main type of screen, desktop, tablet, and phone, are well optimized for a best user experience. So let's go, let me show you that. So here we are on our home page and we want to go into the visual builder. And here we have our home page, which on desktop looks perfect. Great. Now we want to make sure that on tablet and on mobile, it's perfect as well. So we can use these little options here at the bottom left to preview our online store on tablets and on mobile. So we can see directly what our store looks like. Okay. So I like to design website by starting with the desktop version. And after that, make sure that everything is okay on tablet, then make sure that the mobile version is nice as well. Our desktop version is okay, so let's go to the tablet version. And for now, here is what we have on tablets. So it's mainly okay, but we can see that this is very weird. It should not be like this. And also this is probably a bit too long. This is okay, but we can increase the gap between both. It would be better. And this is a bit weird as we have 5 products that are displayed into 2 columns. We have 1 product alone at the end. Okay, so this is all the things that we are going to fix. By default, all the themes and all the templates that you are going to find here are already responsive and will fit perfectly on every type of screen. So you just need to make sure that the modification that you did on the template are okay. As I did a lot of customization to this theme, it's good, so I will be able to show you a lot of things. But it's highly possible that your online store will require way less modification than me and is already perfect on every screen without touching anything. So then to make the design perfect, we are going to use 2 options. The first one is for every module, section, or rows that you have on your store. For every option that we have here in the settings, we always have a little phone icon here. And when we click on the phone icon, it gives us 3 different options: desktop, tablet, and mobile. And this option will allow us to set different settings for each screen. So for example, on desktop, it's aligned on the left. If we go to the tablet, we can align it on the right, or we can center it. And then when we go back to the desktop version, it's aligned on the left. Okay, so this is the first option that we are going to use to put different settings on different screen. So this is very, very useful. So actually I like it center like that. It's pretty nice, so I will keep it like this. And the second option that we are going to use is when we need a little bit more flexibility. In terms of design. In that case, we are going to use the disable option. So again, it's available on every row, every section, and every module that you have on your page. And the strategy here is simply to duplicate your elements where you want to have more flexibility in terms of design. And then you disable one on, for example, tablet and mobile. And the other one, you disable it on desktop. So then this module will show on tablet and mobile, and this one will show on desktop. You can see the disabled module, row, or section at 50% opacity. So that's why it's a little bit darker like that. And so on desktop, we have this one, and on tablet and mobile, we have this one. This one is not going to show. So which means now that we have 2 different modules, we can put 2 different settings, 2 different contents. For example, on desktop, we can have latest release, but on tablet and mobile, we can put another text, and we can even do it 3 times if we want. We use the first one on desktop only, we use the second one on tablet only, and we use the third one on mobile only, for example. And here we have 3 different modules, so we have a lot of flexibility in terms of design. So this is the 2 options that we are going to use: duplicate and disable, or the little phone icon directly on each settings. Okay, I will just go back. Okay, good. So let's do that on our store. We are good with this section at the top. Then here it's a little bit weird to have 5 products. So instead I would love to have 4. So we can check here product count doesn't have the little phone icon. We can't set a different settings for our different screen. So that's okay. We are going to use the second strategy. We just duplicate it. I disable the first one on tablets and mobile. And then I will use the second one that I disable on desktop. And for this one, I will just put 4 products. And now on tablet and mobile, we will have 4 products. And on desktop, we are going to have 5. Perfect. Then for the next section, I would like to increase the gap between the 2 columns because it's a little bit too close to each other, I think. So for doing that, I will just decrease the size of the image on the left. So I will go to the module settings, design, sizing, and here into my swipe, we will use the little phone option, then tablet, and then we are just going to reduce it for tablet. Okay, perfect. That's fine like this. Then we save. And then on desktop, it is still as big as before. Perfect. Then for this section, I think it's very nice, but it's a bit too big because on desktop, all of these 5 images are displayed in one row, so that's nice. But here we need to scroll really a lot to reach the end of the section. It's just because there is too many images and it doesn't fit well on smaller screen like tablet or phone. So what I will do is just remove some images. I will just disable this row, for example, on top, on tablets and mobile. And so this one is not going to show. We will only have those 2 images here on our smaller screens. So then it's much smaller and we still have the best images on our smaller screens. So perfect. Then for the next section, it's a little bit more tricky because you see our theme did some fancy things by moving the images outside of the row and things like that. We are not going to try to modify that because there is a much more efficient way, and the much more efficient way is just to do the exact same thing. We are going to disable this row on smaller screen and we will just do it again for the smaller screens. So we add a new row. So we can duplicate this module here, copy module, because we want the same texts. Paste module. Then we can add a row below with 2 columns. And here, as you see, by default, the 2 columns are actually on top of each other. They are not next to each other. So for putting them next to each other, you just want to go to the settings, advanced, custom CSS, and into main element, just type display flex. And now we have our 2 columns next to each other. That's a little trick for the smaller devices. Okay. And then we just want to put our images. And as we did for the very first section with the latest product, we are just going to put 4. So then we will have 2 rows of 2 products. It will be nicer. So let's do that. Then you can just duplicate this row to keep the exact same settings and change the images. So perfect, now we got our 4 images. Here you can see that my watch on the right is actually bigger than the one on the left. So this is not because the image is bigger. You see the 2 modules are actually the exact same size. It's just that in my picture here, the product is bigger. You see the margin on each side of the picture is much smaller than this one, for example. So on this picture, the product is just bigger. So there's 2 ways of fixing it. Either we change the picture and we made the product just the same size as the others, so it matches, or we can go into the settings of the module, then sizing, and then just decrease the width. And then just decrease the max width of the modules. And then the last thing is we can align the 2 modules vertically by adding here align items center. And now it's much better. But I would still recommend that you just change your picture to make it look exactly the same as the others, so then it's much easier and you have less customization to do on your website. But now we're good. We have our product. We just need to make sure that the images still link to the product page when we click on them. So we just need to add the link. So for doing that, I will get the link from this section here. Link, copy this one, and I just add it into this picture here. And I will just do the same thing for all the images. Let's go. Okay, perfect. Now we have our 4 bestsellers, and when we click on them, it will go to the corresponding product page. So that's great. I'll just make sure that everything is disabled on desktop. Okay. Okay. And for the first one, disable on desktop as well. Perfect. So now this section is only going to show on tablet and on mobile. And when we are on desktop, it will show this section here. Okay, perfect. Let's just verify that quickly. So, okay, perfect. It is disabled for desktop, but enabled for tablets. Okay, perfect. So then we can keep going. Then this section is fine. We can keep it like this. So we just need to save. And here we are. Now our page is perfectly designed for tablet as well. So now the last thing that we need to make sure is how it looks on mobile. Here, as we did tablet first, normally there is very just a few adjustments that we need to make, as the tablet and the mobile are actually pretty similar in terms of how the page are built. So one thing that you want to be careful about on mobile is the size of your text. Most of the time you want to make them smaller on mobile. So for doing that, we will open the settings of our module, then go to the slider, design, body text. You see it highlights. And then we want to go to body text size, enable the phone option, and here we can set a different settings just for mobile. For example, 16 is nice. Perfect. Save, and you can see, for example, here it's the text that we got from the theme directly. You can see that it is exactly what they did. They have 30 pixels for mobile, they have 40 pixels on tablets, and they have 70 pixels for desktop, because every theme by default are already optimized for all the screens, and we just need to make sure that our own modifications are okay. So yeah, this is a great example. So good. So here it's already disabled. We did that before for the tablet view. We have our full product, so that's okay. Then this one on tablet was okay because there were more space to display the content, but now on mobile it's a little bit small. So we are just going to do the same thing. I will just duplicate that and then disable this one on mobile only. We keep it for tablet and desktop. And I will disable this one for tablet and desktop to keep it on mobile only. And the reason why we have the 2 columns, if you remember, it's because we added custom CSS on this row. This is things that we added before. So I will just remove them. And now the 2 columns are actually on top of each other. So that's perfect. Now the only thing we have to do is to make this one smaller. So here we don't need to use the phone icon because this row will actually be displayed only on mobile. So we don't need to care about tablet and desktop. And here we go. Perfect. We can align on the left maybe. Yes, slightly bigger. Perfect. Now it's very nice. Okay, we save. And we're good. Then this section is already okay because we have done it on tablets. So we have only our 2 images here. So that's great. This is what we want. Then the bestseller should be fine as well because we did it before on tablet. So okay, perfect, we'll do it there. And then here we have our watch for women and watch for men section. I think on tablet it was okay, but here on mobile it's really too big, so I will just make it smaller. So for doing that, either we can do the same thing, just duplicate and disable, but here I will first check if we can do it with the little phone icon, the little phone option. So to do that, we just open the settings, then the column settings, design, spacing. Before, earlier in this course, when we designed the home page, we put these settings here to make this image bigger. So this is something that we've done ourselves. So that's why I knew exactly that to make it smaller, it would be here. So we just need to enable the little phone option, and then we can put something smaller only for mobile. And I think 100 is much better. Then we just need to do the same for the second column. And here we go, we save. And here we go. Now we have our page for mobile. It's all good. We just need to save. And that's it. Now our page is perfectly optimized for mobile, for tablet, and for desktop. So this is done for the mobile optimization of the homepage. If you want, you can be way more creative and do way more things using these different options. And for the other pages of your store, it will be the exact same process. We will do the exact same things to make sure it works well on every page. So that's it for this section. Let's keep going.